This is Eagle Sports on Oak Mountain Media. In the studio today, my name is Chase Collins. I'm joined by
Abe Ivy,
Noah Kinnemer,
and Luke Palmer.
Today we're breaking down college basketball. Starting off with the AP poll, just dropped yesterday. Number 1 right now, Purdue, 19-1. Number 2, Bama. Number 3, Houston. How are we feeling about it? UCLA dropped. I think they dropped to 8, something like that. Give me your initial
they did
thoughts.
drop to 8, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I think they're doing it a little bit based off record right now with Purdue, only with 1 loss. You know, you look at who they've played and what they're doing right now. I think Alabama's the peak team right now, peak team to beat. For sure, playing the best basketball right now. But I have to be honest, Tennessee, I think, is better than Houston and Purdue. I think if you rank it off, they're really going off of
19-1 looks so good, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And
but I
you
mean,
see
you got
Big Ten
to take
19-1.
that 1 loss into account and how they've been playing recently. You know,
1 loss to Rutgers. What are they, like 23? I mean, that's the top 25
Rutgers is
loss.
a pretty bad look on that
it was
loss.
a last-second defeat. I mean, they beat Michigan State by 1 bucket. Zach Edey put it in. I mean, that's it. Alabama beat them by like 15. I mean, so,
What I don't really get Gonzaga right now. They beat Bama.
yeah.
Purdue beat them.
Well,
They have 4 losses. They
Crazier
have 4
stuff
losses.
has happened. I mean, you look at teams like UConn who beat Alabama early in the season. You know, they're sitting at number 19 right now, and they dropped 4.
They were
from
up
the
to
last.
like, I mean, what were they?
They just dropped.
3,
They
2?
dropped
highly
4
ranked.
though. They dropped 4 places down from the last AP poll. So you know,
I will say, UConn, they had a heck of a start of the season. I don't know what happened at the Big East. I mean, that is an underrated conference. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in there. I think they have 5 in the top 25.
4.
4.
They got 4 in the. They have nobody past 13. Xavier at 13. Everybody below Big East.
Okay. There's a lot of good teams there. That's all.
But they don't have that elite guy. No. I mean, they have someone who can make a run in the tournament, but I don't see any of them doing anything special.
Georgetown for the Big East, they broke their 29-game losing streak to conference opponents last night.
Go.
29 games. Unbelievable.
And Clemson, first rank ever in the AP poll for the first time ever in basketball.
First time, really?
I still think that's a lie.
I don't think – I genuinely
Yeah, that's what
remember
you think.
them
But,
being.
but it's like Clemson basketball. Who talks about Clemson basketball?
Yeah.
It's a good conference there, Ian. It's a tough company there.
But the Atlantic's not really doing much in basketball right now. They got Virginia. They have Miami. But Miami and Clemson are both
Duke's
20
taking a big
and
fall
down.
off when it comes to their basketball play.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They'll be back. They got votes. I think they were like 26 in the poll. You know,
They
you
had
look at
a-
the people getting votes.
Yeah, they had 102 votes. In New Mexico, had 156.
I mean, I'm gonna look towards the end of like conference play when you have these teams like Charleston and Florida Atlantic, and that's no offense to them, but they're sitting in those weaker conferences. So I mean, you look at those teams, and then you look. I mean, New Mexico, they got in the Mountain West. I mean, once they start really showing who they are, it can't always happen like that forever. So they'll eventually move out. I mean, I think there's so many better teams, and we'll see that around tournament time. When it comes.
I've never heard of Charleston.
College of Charleston, yeah.
They're 21-1. Are
Making big moves in the Colonial Conference.
You got to look at the conference, pal.
the Colonial Conference?
I mean, I think last few years SEC's really stepped it up.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, you could say that, but you ain't seen the Big 12 yet. They've got 6 teams.
But I mean, you got to
Top
think
25.
the Big 12 always has been like that. You think you just go back 5 years ago, and it's like Kentucky, maybe Tennessee. It's like who else? I mean, now you got
It's Kentucky
Auburn,
and you
Alabama.
got your off and on teams.
Yeah.
That's how the SEC
I mean,
was.
but now you've got Auburn, Alabama. I mean, there's almost every SEC team. Texas A&M started out hot. I mean, they've got pretty good teams and pretty good competition.
We'll see this weekend.
Yeah.
That's the 2 most powerful conferences coming together. SEC Big 12 Challenge this weekend. That's going to be big. Texas playing Tennessee, Kansas versus Kentucky. Kentucky's had a rough time, but they're coming back. They're going to get in the ranking if they beat Kansas this week. We'll see how that goes.
And as we've seen before, it is not hard to beat Kansas. They lost TCU, Tennessee, Kansas State. And they've had some really close, unranked games, too. I mean, you look at their schedule, nothing is TCU, Tennessee, Kansas State, they're ranked.
Yeah.
But nothing really stands out to me about Kansas.
Yeah.
This year, obviously, you don't have that team. Like Gonzaga was undefeated a couple years ago. Nobody's killing anybody.
Yeah, that's the weird part about this season. But one thing about Kansas, they've lost 3 in a row. That's only the 4th time in Bill Self's career that he's ever lost 3 games in a row. But
Well, maybe if they put in Wilder Evers, they might start winning some games.
deep walk on.
The walk-on Wilder.
I'm telling you, I think it's definitely doable for the SEC. I mean,
Gonna have to be some upsets, but they could get it done.
yeah. I mean, Arkansas at Baylor.
No.
I don't know
chance.
about that. Arkansas is really underperforming for that number 1 recruiting class. I mean, I watch them I watch most of their games. You know, they talk about how all 5 starters going first round NBA, but their
That
shooting
game
percentage,
last night.
is just awful.
Versus LSU last night, it was like 60-40. It's the sloppiest game I've seen all season. It was
I
terrible.
mean, they have a good little point guard, and that's he's balling out, but
He's huge. 6'7". I mean, he's good, but they want him to be the leader of the team, and he's a freaking freshman. You can't. It doesn't work. It don't work right.
So, who do y'all think is in the best position right now for the tournament? I think obviously it's got to be Purdue. They have the Big Ten. Nobody's really doing
think
anything
Purdue
in there,
really
and the
is-
rest of conference play is awful.
Yeah.
Purdue is pretty expected though. You know, you lose Jaden Ivey, and that's about it. You bring in some other guys, and Zach Edey's really stepping it up. So I think, but they've got to improve on offense and in scoring margins. They're only beating them by under 10. You know, they just have to improve if they want to show their resume and make that better. I mean, you look at a team like Alabama. Alabama's blowing them out of the water.
They still don't want to rank him number 1.
Well, we'll
Well, I
see.
mean, I
We'll
think-
see what happens when they play Tennessee. We'll see what happens in the Big 12. But on Purdue, I think if they drop one of those unranked conference games, and if they don't win the conference tournament, are you looking at a 3 seed? Probably not. But I mean, what have they done to show that they're a good team? 19-1 is good. Beat Gonzaga, that's good.
They beat Duke too, but I mean, Duke's not ranked.
And a lot of people beat Gonzaga.
Yeah. That's it. They're a 4-loss
Not
team
only-
now. They're a 4-loss team
Yeah.
now. So. And it mean when they beat Alabama, Gonzaga's big win versus Alabama in Birmingham. That's a big win. But the thing about Alabama, they guard really good, really close to the rim, and they guard really good at the 3-point line. But Drew Timme, he's kind of a shooter that's a mid-range shooter with floaters, all that kind of stuff, fades, and and he just lit them up 30-something points in Birmingham.
And you're telling me Bama's going to put up 90 and lose?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the Big 12 SEC Challenge. I mean, let's talk about that's some really interesting games. I mean, Kansas at Kentucky. Kansas, not looking the hottest right now. And Kentucky beating Tennessee. I mean, I know they just played Vandy, but, coming up that Kansas game, I mean, TCU at Mississippi State, I think TCU's got that. Texas at Tennessee, that'll be a big game.
Oh, yeah.
That'll
Yeah,
be a great
day's
game
there.
to watch.
That'll be a good one. But I did want to say there's going to be a huge matchup: Kansas versus Kentucky. Jacob Toppin versus Jalen Wilson. Those are both first-round draft picks that's coming up. So that's going to be a good matchup to want to see what can happen right there.
How do you think Kentucky's going to perform in that game?
I think it's at Rupp. I think they'll do fine. I mean, it'll be competitive. I don't know if Kentucky still has the weaponry to beat them. They got Sheboy, and he gets 20 rebounds.
Yeah,
a
but
game.
you look at Coach Cal's play style. Be bigger than everybody else. Just outbig them. And right now, their size matchup, Kansas. Unless they're just absolutely on, I think rebounds, points in paint, I give it to Kentucky. And they're at Rupp.
But how can you be absolutely on after dropping 3 in a row?
I don't know.
I
That's
don't
what
see
they
it.
got.
Yeah, they got a tough 4 games coming up. They got to play Kentucky, then number 5 Kansas State, then number 12 Iowa State, then number 10 Texas.
And Iowa State just beat
Kansas State last night.
Kansas State.
That was a
But I
heck of a
don't
game.
know. I think Iowa State and Missouri is pretty interesting too.
Yeah,
At
Missouri's a dark
Missouri and
horse.
Missouri could light it up at any moment. So it's just one of those.
Yeah,
things.
Kobe
Maybe, but
Brown.
I don't think this is going to be the moment.
Kobe Brown, he's one of the he's scored him and Stephen Curry and one other guy. They're the most with consecutive 30-point games. That guy, he can really light it up. Kobe
I mean, you
Brown.
know who's really you talked about Atlantic Coast not a little bit a while back, but Virginia is sitting at number 7 right now, moved up 3. I honestly think Virginia could be them. They ranked in top 5 early season, but I think they're a real deal for real. They got some
Houston
good
beat them.
players.
Houston beat Virginia.
And being in that Atlantic Conference, I think they could, maybe not go undefeated the rest of the season, but is that really out of the realm of possibility? Maybe Clemson.
I think Miami.
I don't think they
Miami
can lose
could
to
challenge
Clemson.
them. Miami could challenge them for sure.
They could challenge them, but it is definitely real that they beat Miami, beat Clemson, and run through that conference.
Yeah, that's doable for sure.
Well, let's talk about Bama in the SEC. Bama sitting at number 2 now. They got to go through Auburn twice. Got to beat Tennessee. Kentucky's in there somewhere, but they just beat them. It wasn't even close.
Beat them by 26.
Yeah.
So how do you think they're going to finish out? I'm thinking they drop one to Auburn.
For sure.
If you got to play Auburn twice and play Tennessee once, I don't think they win all 3.
Well, Auburn's going to have a lot on them. They've got almost a 30-game win streak at home. So, I mean, like that's starting to pin up against them, and Alabama's coming to play them at home. So that's going to be a heck of a matchup. That'll be Super Tuesday matchup or something, man. That's going to be a good one. But, they got to play Tennessee, and they've got that huge guy, Plavsic. I mean, he gets a rebounding machine.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, if they really find their rhythm. Is it at Alabama?
Nope, Knoxville.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama, they've got a hard stretch. So, I mean, for them to not drop one, it's very doable for this team if they just get hot at the right time. But, I mean, this Tennessee team, they're at home. I mean, other than Kentucky, you look at Kentucky beat them at home. I think it's very doable for Bama to go undefeated in there. But, I mean, because I think Auburn at Bama is going to be a pretty big – I mean, you look at last year how that worked out. And I think Bama's definitely going to want to win that one. And they might –
But
might even take that one from Auburn at home too. I mean, they might actually lose. They might lose that streak if you put it on paper. Like just match them up. Alabama's got better team. I think Auburn at home though, they play top 10, you could push top 5 basketball.
Auburn's like that in every sport. They've got one of the best home field advantages in all sports.
It is. I mean, yeah, you look at football.
People show out for it.
Yeah,
but I mean, you take them on the road and they're right where they probably should be, 15. I don't even think they should be top 20 on the road. On the road, they can. I mean,
the only thing that bothers me about Auburn, they're definitely high caliber team. They can shoot the ball, and then they got that Janai Broom. He can really throw it down. But Alabama's guards, their average starting 5 height is 6'7", and Auburn has those short guys. Man, I don't think they'll stand a chance along that unless they can find their mid-range shot.
I mean, yeah, Auburn dropped height, but they have that Jalen Williams. He's a pretty good contributor to the mid-range, and if he gets hot from 3, and they have the small forward type players, but like you said, Alabama, their small forward is point guard. Their average small forward sizes, what their guards are, running up the floor and back. So it all depends. I think it'll really come down to inside play, though. I mean, who can, because Auburn, one of the best shot blocking teams in the nation right now, but Alabama they're leading rebounds. I mean, Alabama plays good. Yeah. Hard work basketball. Nate Oates says blue collar basketball. He likes playing the tough basketball.
Hard hat basketball.
And so I mean, if and it's like that. So I mean, it's definitely going to be how's the game going to be called? We're going to have fouls. We're not going to have fouls. They're going to let it play. So I mean, that's that whole fast break thing. Because Alabama rebounds, they go right to a fast break just like that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Auburn. Auburn plays the same way. They want to score on that inside. So who's going to let them? And so who's going to stop them? When they stop them, who's going to make the 3?
How impressive is Bama though? They beat Houston 4 overtimes against North Carolina, and where are they now? Right? Besides Houston, I really don't see like a defining win for this team. Dropped a bad one to UConn.
Yeah.
I think Alabama has really good wins in the moment, but you look at it like Michigan State, they were top 15 when they beat them, and now Michigan State's not even there. But I mean, with the wins also comes the losses. Like they lost to Gonzaga, but Gonzaga's dropping. So I think it's just one of those things like, I think March Madness really is good for college basketball because it's like it engulfs the whole sport, like through the regular season. Like you'll have teams beat them, and then they'll drop off.
Yeah, and March Madness doesn't even. You can get ranked March Madness anywhere, and we saw it last year with St. Peter's, was it?
Well, you see it everywhere, every year.
It doesn't matter what seed you are. Anybody can win.
It's like you said, Michigan State got beat, and then they dropped. North Carolina got beat, then they dropped. I mean,
it's wins and losses. Gonzaga beat Alabama, dropped. UConn beat Alabama and dropped. So, you're going to have those drops. It's just like, is Alabama going to drop? Is Purdue going to drop? Houston lost, dropped, and now they're back up. It's like who's gonna keep on rising. But I also see a problem recently with the AP poll, and it's like I was watching highlights from a couple years ago. And, the number 1 team had 4 or 5 losses. Like, they're taking for granted for that just schedule. I think the AP poll really does focus on strength schedule. And I think you've seen that, in the past couple of years with football, too. Like Kansas this year. Kansas undefeated. They got one loss. They're gone. Never talked about again in football.
Yep.
You know, I think we take for granted like schedule, but like that's why I'm happy to see Tennessee top 4 team with 3 losses, ranked above a team with 2 losses, with 1 loss, even the undefeated teams. So
Yeah. All right. So to wrap it up, give me the Final Four. Who will be playing Final Four basketball in
Already?
March? Just go for it.
All right, I got
Give
you.
it to me. I'm gonna start out. I think we'll see Bama in there. I think we'll see Tennessee in there. Virginia. And then give me
Hot pick.
I don't know. Let me think on the 4th. It's gonna be somebody outlandish, but not too outlandish. You know.
I can go ahead and give mine. Mine's pretty interesting. I've got Virginia, Texas, Kansas, and Tennessee.
Kansas, really.
Yeah, I think those teams right now sitting in the mids, I think they're going to start heating up. I know Kansas has been there before and been there, done that, and I think Texas just lost the coach, might hurt them, but those recruits, I mean, they're absolutely insane if they can heat up. That's my dark horse to make it. Virginia, same thing with coaching and program, and then Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee wins SEC, but they have a good history, and so I think they'll get back there.
Give me Iowa State number 4.
Iowa State.
Iowa State, that's
okay.
a good one.
Okay, I got it. Purdue is going to be your number 1 overall seed. I know that's like they got some seniors. Alabama's not even going to be there. They're too young of a team to get there. No, there's not been any teams in the Final Four that has a young team. They're too streaky. They could lose at any moment in March
I
Madness.
like it.
So, and then number 2 overall, Houston. Number 3, I've got, let's see. Probably Baylor. I'm going to put Baylor in there. And then number 4, Texas. 2 Big 12 teams.
All right, mine's a little interesting. I'm sticking Houston.
All right.
This is
Man,
no
y'all all
no
trust in Houston.
no
I can't trust
no
Houston.
particular order. I'm sticking Houston. I think Tennessee is going to be there as well. I think Virginia is going to make it in there. Virginia, you can never count out Virginia. Virginia is always going to be good. They're always, yeah.
They're like that.
And then my dark horse, I don't know if y'all are going to like this or not.
He's gonna say Providence.
No, not.
Probably Auburn.
I'm going to say UCLA.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
UCLA, my
Some
four.
seniors. They got some seniors.
You know, you can pick a blue blood and be fine with that, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we got for y'all today. Chase, Noah, Abraham, Luke. Thanks for joining us today in the studio, and see you next time.